All right, there we go. Welcome to the Dirty Bird Nation Report, the unofficial official podcast of Falcons Twitter. I have a special guest here for you guys. Yes, it's just me holding it down. Y'all know how it is. If we don't record at night, the whole crew can't get on. Like I keep telling y'all, the whole crew can't get on. So it's just me, but don't worry. I got a special guest. He's new to the fam, new to the team, but he's been talking about the Falcons for a minute now on his YouTube channel. And he knows his stuff. Like he knows what he's talking about. And he says he don't say it like a fucking elitist, like all that bullshit that people be spitting out, oh, 3-4 and the nickel and the 1-2 set hut, all that shit. No. He speaks English. So you'll understand exactly what it's saying. His name is Junkman T. And I found him on YouTube and hit him up and was like, yo, I think we needed to do a collaboration. We needed to do stuff. He was like, call me. We talked on the phone and now we are here. Thank you so much for even answering my DM because some people don't even do that. And coming on, I want you to tell everybody, introduce yourself and tell everybody about your channel.
All right. First of all, I would like to appreciate you for bringing me on your channel and joining your team. So I just want to shout that part out because you were able to find me on YouTube and actually look me up on Twitter and Instagram. But my name is Jumpman T. My channel is Twisted Torch TV, where I discuss Atlanta Falcons breakdowns, training camp players, roster moves, all the above, free agency, whatever you want to talk about, we can talk about. I also talk about rap battles and URL. KOTD, so some certain leagues for rap battles, but my main focus is football and the Atlanta Falcons. So anything that regards football, NFL, college, whatever you want to talk about, I'm able to join in and break it down with you. So I just like to appreciate you for adding me to your team, and I'm gonna bring whatever I can to you guys' team.
Yes, and we appreciate it a lot. Every listener that's been listening to this knows. If you're new, welcome. Thanks for joining the family. We don't really cover training camp like that. We've been rocking almost 3 years, and we just haven't talked about training camp. None of us have gone. You know what I'm saying? And I was gonna go this year, but of course,
COVID
ruined that. So I was gonna talk a little bit about it, but so we don't talk about that. So you do. So look, everybody, we finally have someone who discusses training camp.
Yeah, I thought it'd be dope because normally people don't really discuss training camp. They talk about football before the season starts, or during roster season, where they're doing free agency moves and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the players have to practice, right? So we got to know some inside scoops about what they're doing on that field. Who's winning battles, who's not looking too good. So I want to make sure that some of my fans know in my content that we're going to discuss all that, the good and the bad.
Yep, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Everybody on here knows we will get into the ugly. We don't care. You know what I'm saying? We get it. We talk about it, and we go off. Y'all already know. If you're new and you don't like people who cuss out the team, who want to see them do better, and will go in on them for that, you need to just exit this podcast right now because we're not the podcast for you. We go off on them. We love them.
Yeah,
love them to death. But
But it also hurts our hearts. It also hurts our hearts to see them when they don't do good. So that's probably why we get so angry when it happens.
Exactly. It's tough love. Just get over it. You need more of it in your life if you're mad at it. So what have you seen? Just give a little overview of what you've seen in training camp so far.
All right, so for the offensive side, I've noticed that the offensive line has gelled well. Chris Lindstrom looks good. Caleb looks good. Alex Mack looks good. I think our left guard is the only position that really we have a real battle at, and that's between Carpenter, of course, and then the rookie we got in the third round, Matt Hennessy.
Yeah.
So we're just looking to get that piece settled because if anybody knows, when we watched the games last year, that left guard position was giving us tons of fits. Everybody that lined up in that left guard, they were killing them. So we did good in the run game sometimes. Carpenter's a good run game guy, but he's terrible at pass. Like he can't block anybody when it comes to pass. His feet is too slow. So I think that's why they did a good job of getting Matt Hennessy from Temple. I think he's gonna be, the assessor to Alex Mack in a couple years because I think Mack has at least 1 or 2 years left in him because he doesn't. I mean, he didn't get injured like that when he was
Mhm.
younger or anything. So I just know that he's gonna play at least 2 more years, unless we get to the Super Bowl and win it. He might do. He might ride off in the sunset then. But receiver position. I think our third slot is between Russell Gage and Treadwell. But people don't even know about number 17. We may know about him because he made a splash play versus the Panthers last year. A speedy guy. He reminds me of Taylor Gabriel.
Ooh,
Do you know what I'm talking about?
number 17. I'm trying to think.
Zacchaeus? Zacchaeus?
Oh, yes. Look, they ain't passed him the ball enough for me to know their names.
Well, he's been showing out in camp. He's made almost every catch. I saw him make an actual. He went on a corner route and he killed Oliver severely. So he makes plays. He's not really scared of getting hit because he's going in the middle of the field making plays. And Matt Ryan is really trusting him. He trusts him and Russell Gage. I think Russell Gage is going to take a big step this year because in the beginning of the season last year we had Sanu, so he wasn't really getting that many targets. The only issue with Russell Gage is sometimes on those third down plays when he gets close to linebackers and stuff, he gets scared. Like he tries to make catches where he's falling and then he drops it. That happened versus the Panthers. That happened versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that first game. So he's a little jittery. But I feel like this year, getting a full go of training camp to where he's getting a lot more reps, he's gonna be excellent. Treadwell, he's been a little bad as he's had a case of the dropsies sometimes. He's a big body receiver. I look at him like a Julio, but he's slower. When he came out of Ole Miss, he was excellent. Like people actually thought he was going to be something. It just hasn't planned out, when he was with the Vikings because it's Kirk Cousins. We don't really want to get into that. But Matt Ryan is Matt Ryan is a way better QB, and he's going to help him out, make his game go to the next level, just like Julio and Calvin Ridley is. Calvin Ridley has came in to camp in good shape. It's crazy how good he's gotten because his routes were already good coming out of Alabama, but his routes are crisp. To be honest, I'm a little scared to even have him go against our corners. His routes are that good. He breaks ankles, so
Yeah,
we.
his workouts on social media. I've seen it. I've been like, "Woo, boy!" Like
that's
you just keep getting better and better.
that's a man. That's a grown man right there. And just think about it. I mean, Julio. People may think Julio is going to take a step back, but that man looks like he's still the best. He's not slowing down. He's still beating corners off that speed, that breakaway speed. He still has it. When he does those in route cuts and those corner route cuts, still deadly. So I look at Julio like I thought Calvin really was gonna be coming in and getting more reps and more plays this year, but I'm thinking like, nah, Julio's still gonna be the kingpin. He's still gonna make all the plays. He's still gonna be that dynamic receiver that we expect of him.
Always that we can trust him, and we just gave him what 60-something million dollars.
66 mil.
Look, you better be making plays.
And he's not complaining. Julio's never been a complainer. He comes out, he's practicing. And the one key thing about Julio, if you haven't noticed, he's always came into training camp where he's had a little nagging injury. COVID has helped some of our players.
Yep, and that's what our host South Breeze was saying that he would rather. I'm probably gonna botch this, but I'm sure he'll be like, "That's not what I said." He'd rather there not be a season this year, so all the players could get healthier. For
I
next
don't.
year.
Nah, I'm good on that. We need football in all honesty. Just seeing what we're dealing with outside of sports, we need it. And I mean, as long as fans are going to be there, I don't think we have any players that's injured like that. To,
No,
to what he's talking about.
a couple sprains came out today from
Yeah,
Jason Butt,
no
but
big time players though.
yeah, that's it. Well, Fowler got a little sprain. Let's see. It like just happened like an hour ago. Yeah, he has a sprained ankle.
Oh, okay. Well, this is what I kind of noticed too about training camp and with the NFL. Sometimes they have little injuries where they just don't want to practice. That's also one thing I noticed. And I think about it, he's practiced almost every week. They went on practice for like 3-4 weeks straight. So you're gonna have time where players are gonna sit out. He's 26. He's still a young guy. He's a young pup. So that ankle's not gonna really hurt him that much. Especially seeing the fact that they haven't practiced like that since last year. They've really just been training. They
Yeah.
haven't actually had to do like mini camps and off season workouts. Like they were just starting in July. So I know he's gonna be good to go in 2 weeks. We still got 2 weeks, and I expect big things from him. As far as the defensive side of the ball, since you brought up Fowler, I think that's an asset we really needed. I think he's really an upgrade compared to Vic Beasley. I know you know that because we really
I,
hated Vic Beasley.
I'd be an upgrade compared to Vic Beasley. Shit.
Excellent, yeah,
At least I try to do 50 moves screaming and scared, but I wouldn't just do one move, the same move every
yeah,
time.
yeah. Vic was a bad pick, and it's kind of crazy because one thing I'm really good at, and people may not notice, but in college I can watch players and I can know which player is gonna fit in our scheme. I knew that with Julio in 2011. I just knew that when we was watching our offense, it wasn't as dynamic. Roddy White was a key piece. He was a playmaker, Michael Turner. But when we got to that playoff game, we needed another piece. We needed a breakaway speed. So when I saw Julio in Alabama, I said we're gonna get him. With Vic Beasley, when I saw Vic Beasley play that championship year when he was 44, and I just saw how he kept batting down balls and he was so fast off the speed. I was like, man, with Dan Quinn coming in, we're probably gonna get this guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
uh,
we gotta see you for next year.
yeah,
Hopefully, college is a little iffy right now
no,
with
I don't think
everything going on.
I don't know about that. I don't know how we're going to be able to really process players because a lot of them are thinking about sitting out. So it's going to be hard to go back on 2 years of them playing to see if they're going to be able to be actual dynamic players in the league unless they're just like players like field, like QBs or receivers or running backs. But as far as certain players like the ones who play in the trenches, the ones who play safety and stuff like that, it's going to be hard to know how they're gonna be coming off a whole year of not playing.
Right. And I get it. Like I really get it, especially with college, because I if you haven't even been to college and you just see like the parties and all that stuff and know about how the athletes move,
Mm,
you know what I'm saying? It's hard. It's really, really hard to protect college players. Um, and then of course, the host is real. It's real. They sneak in, you know what I'm saying? The guys, they're gonna take whatever they can get, COVID or not. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? And it's hard. So I can't blame the players for in college for sitting out. And it's just like they have to think about their long
hmm
term careers, because college isn't everything. I mean, most of them aren't even trying to go in to finish a degree. They're trying to go in to make it to the NFL. And
definitely.
if they get COVID, then there's a high possibility they're never going to be able to play again. Like there's this one cat out of, I think he went to Georgia Southern,
hmm
and he got COVID, and now he has a long-term heart problem. So he
Oh
can't
man.
play at all anymore.
Well, seeing the fact that I just came from college because I actually ran a program in college as far as intramural sports, so I
Mhm.
knew a lot of the college athletes. So I knew what they were consistent of. I knew they love to party, they love to have a good time. But I went to HBCU. So
Mhm.
I think it's a little bit different for those D1 schools, because you have more players that's more serious about going to the league. So you're gonna have some of those serious guys, but you're also gonna have those guys that are they're athletes that can party all day and still get on the field and make plays. So
Yeah, like
uh
Dennis Rodman.
yeah, that's a key piece right there. That man did whatever he wanted to do and was able to still be the fastest guy on court. Didn't
Man,
look
shout
sluggish
out
or
to
nothing.
that MJ documentary.
That GOAT status, man. He had to let people know. So
Yeah, I went to 2 PWIs, so it was it was pretty crazy. So yeah, I can't blame them. But hopefully they can come up with a way to still evaluate the college athletes that do sit out. And I'm sure those athletes are going to be training hard. You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying? To
definitely.
make it, to whatever, they need to so they could hopefully, make it next year. But we just gonna see.
But it also depends on the scout team. I mean, since we have Thomas Dimitrov, he's a GM that used to be a scout, so he knows what to expect of players. He knows what players are gonna. I mean, he's had a couple duds, but since our change since the 2011 season, 2008 season, like we have gotten better in our team each year.
Hmm.
In, in one round, 2 rounds, we have gotten better. Like 2016, this probably was the best round or the best draft we've had since probably 2011 when we got Julio. Because we got Keanu Neal, we got Javon J. Campbell, he's gone now. We got Austin Hooper, he's gone now. But
Hmm.
Deion Jones, we got Keanu Neal and Deion Jones, and both of them are. Deion Jones already got a big contract last year, but Keanu Neal is coming for a big contract. If he has a good season, he's coming for a big contract. So we've had some players that have made dynamic plays in NFL, and I think that with Thomas Dimitrov being in office, I think he's going to make some good decisions as far as players because he knows what Dan Quinn likes. Dan Quinn knows what he likes, and they attack it. That's why I think AJ Terrell is a good fit for us because people may feel sad. I also thought he was gonna come to our team too, which is crazy because I was watching that game versus the game before LSU. I was watching. I was like, man, this guy's probably gonna get picked by us because just the way he played, and I knew what position our draft stock was, and I was like, if we don't get him, we're gonna get that D tackle that went to San Francisco. Of course, yeah, yeah, yeah. Kyle Shanahan got us. He got us bad
I
on that one.
hate that guy with a passion, a
He got us two
fiery
times,
passion.
man. He got us 2 times. He fucked us in the Super Bowl, then he fucked us again by picking our player.
I literally, when that happened, I screamed. I was like, yo.
When I
I was
saw him
so-
drop, I was like, okay, San Francisco's gonna get a receiver. We're good. We're good. They're gonna get a receiver. They got us. They got us, man.
Shanahan.
I was sad. I was like, well, we're not gonna pick another lineman, so it's AJ Terrell. And that's what happened because and also people might not know the Saints were thinking about picking AJ Terrell. So that was also to defeat the Saints, because that's who the Saints wanted. They wanted him. The Saints were talking about getting him and the Raiders were talking about getting him. So we picked them before they picked him. People were saying that, oh, we could have drafted back up in the first round. He wouldn't have been there.
No,
So
like
that's it.
you've seen all his stats and everything. It's like, no, he wouldn't have been off.
Like the man had an interception in a championship game versus Bama. So I mean, I look at it as, yeah, he got kind of abused versus Chase, but Chase had almost 20 touchdowns last year, so he was abusing everybody. He had a Heisman QB throwing to him, and he had also another receiver, Jefferson, that went to my Minnesota, that was on the other side. So it was going to be hard to double team him. And AJ Terrell had the flu that game. People don't even know that.
Oof.
He had the flu that game. And he still made a couple plays, but that whole team got dominated. It wasn't just him.
Right, and people they don't want to go back and look at the game. They just want to go and look at that one clip
Yeah.
to be like, "Oh no!" And
Nah.
everybody got something that they want to pick at and be mad about with this team, including myself. But it is what it is. Speaking of TD, um, since it seemed like he finally got some act right this year with the draft, like, and finally decided to get the line together on both sides. If we make the playoffs, do you think he will stay? Do you want him to stay?
You talking about Thomas Dimitrov, right?
Yeah.
I do. I do. I want him and Dan Quinn to stay, in all honesty, because I look at it.
What?
I look at it as Dan Quinn knows how to get to his players. Like all the players love Dan Quinn, and Julio doesn't go to bat for everybody. So knowing that Julio was willing to go to bat for him shows me something. That shows me that Dan Quinn has a certain aura that the players love. Think about it. In all honesty, we probably wouldn't have got Dante Fowler if it wasn't for Dan Quinn. They played together. He was his coordinator in Florida Gators. People may not know that, but that was his coordinator. So
I did see a picture.
yeah, yeah. So it's just crazy how things come around. Just like Keanu Neal.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So people may not notice that, but Dan Quinn is a part of an organization that's gonna be able to get certain type players. And I feel like if TD continues to stick with Dan Quinn, they're gonna make a good mush. The only issue I think is Duck Cuddle. I don't know if he's gonna be able to stop making these vanilla plays. Like put some emphasis on scheming the plays. Like Jesus Christ, man! Like an 8-year-old can pick out what you're gonna do. Sometimes I don't like that. I don't like that. Like that's not cool to me, man. Like don't just sit back there and go 6 yards. Like make Matt Ryan do 6-step pockets and act like our line was not terrible. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't helping Matt Ryan out sometimes. And then we didn't have a run game. So it was just like you were putting us in situations that we were gonna fail.
Yeah. So everyone, okay, I'm on the TD and DQ leaving train. I
Really?
am. DQ's ego last year ruined our chances from the playoffs, and I don't like that. So there's that.
Because he wouldn't give up the defensive
Yep.
calls.
Yep. And as soon as he gave it up, look
We went
what
we
happened.
went 6-2. We went 6-2 down the stretch.
Exactly. So that, and then TD is just like, bruh, don't wait till your head's on the chopping block to do right.
Yeah.
That's my thing with those two.
Mm-hmm. I totally understand you. I totally understand you.
Yeah, more people are like that. I guess half the people would want to keep both of them or one of them. And then the rest of us, we want them gone. But Dirk, like people are like, I'm so excited for the year. And I'm like, but we have Dirk as our OC. Like, is everyone forgetting that?
Do you remember 2012?
2012. So my boy Trey came on. If y'all didn't hear that episode, go listen to it. It should be out by the time this one comes out. My boy Trey brought up 2012 and forgot. Like, I think I suppressed that year because of what happened. And he brought it up. I got pissed off all over again. Like, he really made it. We were right there. We were right there.
We were.
Then it was taken away. Meanwhile, it was a whole fucking pass interference on the last play, and they just shut it down. Mind you, I was working when this happened. I was late to go down and clock in because I was watching it. I had my jersey on and everything, my Matt Ryan black jersey. I had it on, and I had to go downstairs and wear it and deal with customers. And this guy said, I was literally helping out this guy and his girl. He literally looked at me and he laughed and he said, they just lost, right?
Oh Lord. Yeah.
I jumped the counter.
Yeah.
I got written up because I jumped the counter. I was ready to kill him. Like,
don't rain on us while we're I know. I know we lost. Don't act like that, man. Like it was people do that to you. People do that to you.
2 minutes later, he comes and he says that. I'm like, oh, like I suppressed that. I suppressed that until my homeboy brought it up a couple weeks ago. That year is just like out of my mind. All I remember is our 4-12 seasons for the next 2 years.
But do you remember there was more plays in that game? It wasn't just that call. The Harry Douglas play on that drive. Harry Douglas should have scored. He fell on his ass. I don't know what the hell happened on that one. When they did the fake screen and he went out and up and he caught the pass and then they reviewed it because he fell. I'm just like, bro, you had a touchdown. How did you fall?
Because I missed. I was only able to catch like the first quarter, and then I had to go to work. So the rest of the time I was like driving, and then I caught the last, fourth. Yeah, the fourth quarter, and that was it.
But he wasn't supposed to go to Roddy right on that call, right? He was supposed to go to Tony G on that play.
Bruh.
Tony G was wide open. He did a slant, and he was on the outside. But Matt Ryan had just complained about his shoulder. He had just got put on his ass. So whenever Matt Ryan gets put on his ass like that, he kind of does the baby shoulder cry like he did in 2016. Like he's kind of weird about that. And that's the thing I have with Matt Ryan. That's the only bad thing I have with Matt Ryan. He's kind of gotten better at that lately, but he doesn't avoid pressure as good as he should. Like he takes sacks too easily. And that's the one thing I can't stand about Matt Ryan. And I argue with my friends, I argue with my other Falcons homies, and they'll be like, "Man, why does Matt Ryan?" I'd be like, "Bro, I don't know. Sometimes he looks jittery, he looks too scary in the pocket, and you can't have that in the NFL because once they see that, they're gonna blitz you every play just to touch you, and that's what teams were doing last year. They were blitzing, they were killing him, and he's good at the blitz. Don't get me wrong, he's good at the blitz, but if you touch him early in the game, it's gonna be a long game. If Matt Ryan stays up early that whole first quarter, he's gonna torch that defense the rest of the game. And if you watch games, that's all you have to do with Matt Ryan. Just keep that pocket clean to a T. Give him 3 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds. He is gonna make plays. But if that pocket flutters in the middle like that, he can't take it. He can't handle it. He can't handle those Aaron Donalds and that up the middle pressure. He'll take that outside pressure any moment. He can't handle that up the middle pressure.
See, that's why I always be like that raggedy fucking O-line. You know what I'm saying? Because you're raggedy. Stop having my QB on the ground. I haven't paid attention that much to what you were saying, but this year I'll definitely pay attention to him being sacked early and how he plays. I haven't paid attention to that, but fuck. Oh, my big sis, shout out to you, Corinne. She
shout out Corinne.
Hey, you know Corinne?
No, I don't. I was just shouting her out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just showing love.
Cool.
Just showing
she's
love.
Real cool. But people have the Vic and Ryan argument, and she says why she prefers Vic is because he would get the fuck out the way. He like run. You know what I'm saying? When pressure was coming. And she just wants Ryan to do that, do more of that. Like, stop just standing there and taking it and at least try to get out the way.
Which he has. He has. Since 2016, he has done a better job of just getting off and running. He's done that better. But it's still sometimes, where that pressure gets there too fast. You can't do nothing about that. Like, when we play the Saints, Cameron Jordan kills every game. It's like Cameron Jordan is our kryptonite for Matt Ryan because he gets 2 or 3 sacks and he ruins momentum all the time. I cannot stand Cameron Jordan with a passion. Like he is somebody that just a tick and our thorn, and it's like we never switch over, like give him help, the right tackle. We just let him go one-on-one the whole game and just wreck up shop. I can't like that upsets me so bad when that happens. And that's one thing about Todd Gurley. This is our first time having a big back, like a 6-foot back that's gonna be able to block as well. Like he's dynamic. He's good at running the ball. He's good at catching the ball at the backfield. Because in his interview with Cam Newton and Victor Cruz and OBJ, he said I started that. Doing the catching out the backfield and running thing. He started that. And I also noticed, I was like, man, when I watch him with the Rams, he's good at pass block. He's good at pass protection. And that's what we need. We need that because Freeman wasn't good at that. Tevin Coleman wasn't good at that.
Yeah, Freeman was little.
Yeah, Michael Turner was good at that. Michael Turner was good at that.
Yeah, Michael Turner, but Michael Turner was big too.
He was a big guy.
You know what I'm saying? Like Freeman wasn't as big as Michael Turner.
Yeah.
And then who else? Of course, Demarco, my favorite. Like, I'm so mad we got rid of him.
Hey, but do you remember in 2015 when we had a chance to go to the playoffs and it was a winning end versus the Panthers?
Yes.
The first drive, we had to take a field goal because Demarco dropped that touchdown pass. It was like a 2-yard little flat route that he was wide open for.
Yeah, people drop passes every day.
Yeah, but that might have been the reason why they didn't keep him.
Oh man!
But 2016, he was spectacular. Don't get me wrong, he was spectacular in 2016. I loved him in 2016. I think he's doing good with the Bills actually, because
Yeah.
their running game is pretty good with the Bills, and I think the fullback we got from the Cowboys, Smith, number 40, he's pretty good. He was opening holes up for Zeke, so I feel like he's gonna be good enough to open up holes for Todd. They're already gelling well. On Todd Gurley's wired, they have like players mic'd up.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell him and Smith have like a good bond, and that's what you need when you're the running back and fullback. Like, you have to be on the same accord. Like, hey, I'm a cut guy, so if you take on this DN and I can cut off you, they're gonna gel well right with that. Like, they know each other's language, and that's an excellent thing when you play in the backfield. Everybody has to be on one accord, and I think that's gonna be good for us. Smith is a big back, you know what I'm saying? So we should give it to him on 3rd and 1s, 4th and 1s too. So I feel like our running game is gonna get it's gonna be a different level. Because I mean, Freeman, he was just hurt too much, he had knee issues and concussion issues, so we finally had to let him go. I love Devontae Freeman. I think he is a beast, but at the end of the day, we didn't even want him, to be honest. Like, the people before Dan Quinn, the scheme before picked him. Mike Smith and them had picked Devontae, and so they wasn't expecting to start Devontae. They wanted to start Tevin Coleman. That's why they drafted that back in 2015. So just knowing that Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff, they have a back that they want. Todd Gurley is a back that they want. They want backs like that, like Michael Turner. They want those type of backs that can do everything: block, run the ball, catch the ball. Like, that's what Todd Gurley is going to bring to this offense.
Yeah. I just hope that they can all stay healthy, because we got 3 injury prone, 2 of them had concussions. Todd, of course, with his knee. And I think Hill is the only one that's been
Stable, yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah.
So that's my only concern with our running back, is just like, okay, so because 2 of them went down last year, so I'm just like, okay, now we got Todd with the knees, and that's my biggest concern this year.
But I look at it as, since the Rams kind of helped us out when they were managing him, they load managed him. So I feel like he has a lot more wear on his tear, because he's only 26 years old. So since these past 2 years, they have pretty much gave him a load management schedule. He's still gonna be dynamic. We don't really need him to be that bell cow like the Rams did. We have playmakers all across the field, So we might only just use him in the red zone, and he's able to score. He had almost 14 touchdowns last year. So we don't have to worry about that. If we're in the red zone, that was our issue as far as the offense. Like the past 4 years has been, we can get from the 20 to the 20, but when we get in that red zone, we stumble. We have false start penalties, we have holding calls, and then we just get stuffed. We can't run the ball. And if you double team and triple team Julio Jones, which they do, they bracket him. They call it bracket coverage, to where they might put, like they're doing punt team. They'll put 2 defenders on them and then have a safety over top. So you can't throw jump balls. People think that's just throw it up to Julio. You can't do that if they have 3 people on them. That's impossible.
Right.
You have to take advantage of the other coverage.
And Julio can do it, but he doesn't need to do it all the time. It's just too
much. Because people step on his ankles on purpose. People try to tackle him by his ankles, and that's why Julio does the one play and out. He does that all season, one play and out. I make a 20-yard gain, I'm sitting out for 2 plays. So we got to do a better job of that too. Like, I really need Julio to be in the game a little bit more. Like, we can't do that in our offense. I know Ridley's taking a big step, and we're gonna rely on Ridley a lot. But we also saw in that Saints game for Thanksgiving how it looks without Julio Jones, and we couldn't score that much.
We really did. Yeah, the offense, I want to be excited, but again, we have Dirk running the offense. But I am trying not to get excited for Hennessy playing left guard, which it looks like that's what they're going to do. but I am. You know what I'm saying? Like I am excited
You should
for
be.
a better O line.
You should be. Because think about it, we got 2 first rounders last year, and they didn't. Caleb played, but Chris Lindstrom didn't play. He didn't play for 8 games, 9 games, and on those 9 games, we looked terrible. We looked horrible. So when he got back, we won every game. That tells me something. That tells me that he knows the scheme. He knows how to help block, and he knows how to pass protect. That shows me that he's gonna be a legit starter in our league.
I hope I whew,
You on the fence about that?
fingers crossed.
All right, well, let's get into that defense then, because that's probably been our issues, the past couple years since 2017. We haven't had a top 10 defense since 2017, so that's
Okay,
probably.
so let me ask you this that
Mhm.
nobody has had an answer for. We usually have answers for when players are out and why they're out. Why do you think Sanat was out all last year?
I don't think he was ready, because he hasn't built a stable pass rush yet. You know, I think he's only good at stopping the run. And when you play in that scheme, because we have small linemen, defensive linemen, you have to be able to do both. You know, and he's not like a fast, speedy guy like off the ball like Grady Jarrett. He's a stuffer. That's what he reminds me of. When I saw him in college, that's what he did, and I don't think he's actually came into his own because they don't even talk about him in training camp. So he's not flashing like he should.
I'm trying to figure it out because it just doesn't make sense that he's just on IR.
Hmm.
But when he was here, when he performed, he wasn't. Him and Grady were like peanut butter and jelly. It was like a
Yeah, yeah.
little combo. So I don't. I'm like, is there more to the story, or is it just he's not performing? Because if he's not performing like that this year for whatever reason, then why is he here? But he's here, so is there something else like another
Um,
health type issue? You
they
know, it's not
they
making
haven't they
sense.
haven't said anything about health concerns. I just think he hasn't shown enough to get on the field. When you have a dynamic player like Grady Jarrett, and because I noticed they were doing when they were on second and third down, when sometimes they're expecting to run, teams would audible and just pass the ball on, and they would look so slow, and no one would be able to get pressure.
Hmm.
So, and I noticed the scheme they were doing. They started doing like a NASCAR scheme where they would have three defensive linemen out there with Grady Jarrett. They would have Tack. They would have Vic Beasley. They would have Grady, and then they would have number 90, what's his name? 95, Crawford. They would have Crawford out there because Crawford can bat down passes. So I mean, I don't think Sanat's better than Crawford from last year because Crawford was able to he got an interception, he was able to get sacks, he was able to get more pressures. And I got news for you, he probably won't play this year either because Marlon, they're thinking about moving Marlon into the D tackle role because
Oh,
he's a big guy. He's 300 pounds, 6'7". And he doesn't like playing inside, but he's gonna have to play inside because we got Tack. And then maybe on third downs they might switch it, put Tack inside and him on the outside. They're gonna switch it out a lot. And I think that, and we got Charles Harris from who used to play for the Dolphins, who we were highly looking at in the draft when he came out of Mizzou.
that's who we got.
Got Charles Harris, and think about it. He was in a terrible team. He was in a terrible organization. He wasn't. They weren't winning. So of course, if you're not winning, you're not going to look good. So imagine him coming to this team, where he has to split up reps with Tack, who's a firecracker, who's anxious to make plays, to make the Falcons feel bad for not picking up his fifth year option. No one cares, Tack. Do your job so we can be happy with you because we love your celebrations. We love the personality you have, but you get injured a lot, my man, and you don't finish plays. And that's what we need. Like I think Dante Fowler is gonna be a key addition because he's going to be able to level Tack up. Because him and Tack are kind of like the same player, but Dante has way more moves than Tack, and that's what he's been doing. He's been taking on that big brother role and showing the defensive line different moves so they can make switch up. If he was here when Vic Beasley was here, I think Vic Beasley probably would have learned more moves.
Yeah, that is what I've been liking. hearing
Mm-hmm.
this during this training camp is a lot of players are a lot of vets are being good mentors to the rookies
Yeah,
and 5-year players.
yeah, that's what we need. And Grady's good at that too. Like, and it's so crazy. I don't know if you know this, but Grady's actually from the area where I stay in. He's from Conyers.
Mm.
So I knew exactly where his house was, the one that got burned down when he got drafted in 2015.
Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. And he's able to buy a new house. He got paid, and he's making plays continually. Like he's not stopping for no one. If you look at some of his pictures, he's gotten bigger. He's a big guy.
Look, that man. First of all, I didn't even know who his daddy was until like a year in with
Mm,
us. I was like, "Are you serious? That's who his dad is?" I was like, that's
mm,
crazy.
yeah,
But he always puts in work. That man does not stop working, and I
yeah,
love him for that. Like he is the Grady Jarrett. You know what I'm saying? But you always see him working.
working out. Because he also wasn't supposed to be a fifth round pick. They picked him in fifth round. He stayed so long in the draft because of his height, and so he kind of feels discredited because he made a lot of plays in college. It wasn't just Vic Beasley making plays; it was him making a lot of plays on that Clemson team. So I think he feels like he has something to prove to the NFL, to the NFL scouts, to the NFL teams, and I feel like he's gonna come out and do even better because they only ranked him 90 in the NFL top 100 players. How is that even possible?
Look, NFL top 100. We talked about that. That shit is a load of shit.
It's
It is.
fugazi. Yeah, yeah.
Like, how does JJ Watt continue to be number one when he hasn't even played?
Yeah,
How?
I don't know what that is. They do that a lot though, and it really upsets me because it's like, all right, so you're telling me there's 100 players better than Matt Ryan, and he's throwing for close to 5,000 yards every year. What is that? So all that just shows me how they really feel.
Right. And let's talk about JJ Watt real quick. Where's the hurricane money? We still don't have answers to that. You took all them people's money and you went on a trip to Rome and got a little room right across from the Coliseum. Where is the money?
With JJ Watt, I really don't know, man, because I don't really follow them too much because they are a disappointing team to me too. Just how they handle things in the organization. Like, how do you let go one of your best players? How do you
Well,
let go two of your best players? JJ Watt is still there, but you chose to let go of DeAndre Hopkins, and JJ Watt hasn't played in 3 years.
I think we can answer that. I mean, ain't the owner a damn big ass racist? Is
Hmm.
he still there?
Yeah,
D-
but it was also Bill O'Brien too, though. Bill O'Brien wanted him gone because they were having arguments on how he was being used, and I guess he wanted more money, and
uh,
they didn't want to give him the money.
he deserves the money. They gave JJ all the money just to sit down and scam America with hurricane money. But
Hmm.
Hopkins can't get the money.
Yeah, that's totally disrespectful, and I don't even think they went to Deshaun to ask him. They just did it without Deshaun's even approval, and that's not right.
It ain't right.
Yeah,
And I think Watson might be on that list of players that are going to sit out this season.
you think they had to already make their names, and he didn't put his name in. They had to do that a month ago
They
to
did.
decide. Yeah, they
I
had to
thought it was
decide.
new. I thought this was a new bunch.
Oh well, no, they haven't. They said that you were supposed to do it before the deadline, and the deadline was before the start of training camp.
I don't know. I think these people are going to eat this money because this was it last week that they said a few great or notable black players are still sitting out.
Oh, you're talking about based on the racial situation that's been happening outside. I,
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. I don't think it'll be nobody from our team, but
I
it'll
don't
be
think so
it'll be,
either.
it'll be some other teams because their organization, how they run things. You know, Arthur Blank puts money into the organization. Matt Ryan has put money into the black community. You know, Dan Quinn is okay with that. Like all of them respect social justice and want to help as much as they can. So I don't see our team doing that. But other teams that may have racist QBs like Drew Brees, other might have racist GMs and stuff like that. That can happen in that organization if they're not trying to help as far as in the black communities.
And I see Watson being one of them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see that because the Texans don't really care. I don't see them winning anyway this year. They don't really have nothing. So
Yeah, Watson and OBJ, he's already said it like 50,000 times, even on his show, which I think everyone should watch that show. When him, Cam, Todd, and
Victor Cruz.
Yes, we're talking, and that was great because it gave me a newfound respect for each and every one of those players.
Yeah.
Especially Cam.
Yeah, but Cam is going to the Patriots, so I
Yeah,
want to
he's
see. I
with the
want to see how he's
Patriots.
going to gel with them, knowing how he's such a outspoken player, and you know he brings that kind of jazz to the a team. I want to see how he makes it in that organization when they do a lot of you do this or else type things as the organization. They don't really have sway for the players too much.
Me too. And I used to be like, fuck Cam. But after seeing that and hearing him speak about everything, I now have a newfound respect for him, except for when he plays us.
Yeah, yeah. But I feel like Cam wants to be home, so that's why he kind of plays us more hard than he should. You know, but he doesn't have a good record versus us anyway. Only year he really beat us was 2015, and we stopped their 16-0 season. So, oh well.
And who Debo gave him that concussion, right?
2017. Yeah, he knocked his block off. I remember that.
Knocked his block and made him miss 2 games. He was on that scooter, like driving down the street. Remember, I was like,
yeah.
You have a concussion or not? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, Deion don't play that. No, that was actually 2016. I'm sorry. Deion doesn't play that though. Deion is we haven't gotten to the linebackers, but Deion is an attribute that we need because he's an all around player. He's fast. He can read the field excellent. And I just think he's good in coverage, you know. Like there's not too many linebackers that's good in coverage. Like I kind of look at him as a Brian Urlacher, even though I hate Brian Urlacher after what he said last week. I don't really like him. I don't like comparing him to him, but that's kind of what he reminds me of a slimmer Brian Urlacher because Brian Urlacher was so fast and he had the eye. He was able to read plays and diagnose it so quickly. And I think that's kind of what Deion Jones is. If you watched 2017 when we played the New Orleans Saints, the year he had the interception to end the game.
Oh yes,
that whole game he was around the ball. He was the one who put Alvin Kamara out for the concussion in the beginning of the game. That first drive, the Saints were cooking. They were eating us up all the way down the field. They ran that screen, which I don't know why they didn't know that. If you watch film, you can't run screens on the Falcons. But they ran that screen. Deion Jones ate it up and put him out. He was out the rest of the game. And that showed me, I'm like, yeah, he's prime time. Then I saw him actually. They did an end around with Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn is one of the fastest receivers. He ran track and all. He called him on an end around at the linebacker position for a 7-yard loss. I said he's gonna be the truth. That man, that's that man right there.
Look, Debo. I love Debo. My only concern now, but he's had a lot of time to recover, is when he came back last year, he was a little like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You could tell that he had to get the jitters out from coming back.
Definitely.
And I really hope that he has them all out now so he can come back and play, great. I don't want no jitters. I don't want another True situation where True came back and it was clear that he was like jittery.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need him to come back strong. All of them. Shit. Him, Neil, Allen, uh, Lindstrom. Is that no. Who? Kaminsky.
Kaminsky, yeah, Kaminsky. I think
Kaminsky.
Kaminsky's gonna be dope.
Yeah, that's who I'm pretty excited to see on the field. I trust Fowler, what he can do. Tack is going to be a we'll see. Kaminsky, I'm really excited to see what he can do and bring to the table. Davidson, oh, that's a big beast. Like, I,
Mm.
I don't know why, but I have faith in him. Because every time I have faith, then they make me mad. So I'm trying not to, have my hopes up. But I have faith in him. Allen, I have faith. I have faith in about everybody on the team except for Oliver. Because, bro, how
I,
are you 20 yards to the right and you're supposed to be 20 yards to the left? Like, what is happening? Where are you going? What
um,
are you doing?
I'm a little skeptical about Oliver because he finished the year pretty good. So I'm not too concerned about him, but I'm also worried that he's a little bit too slow for our defense. That's my only issue. I feel like he can play man coverage to a certain extent, but he needs help. So it's gonna depend on AJ Terrell and how he does. Because if AJ Terrell is able to compete and do man coverage one on one without needing any help, that's gonna be able to give more help to Oliver. And that's really what Oliver needs. Oliver needs to have kind of the scheme that the Seahawks had to where it was cover three or man and you had a lot of help from the safeties. Keanu Neal's going to help him. Ricardo Allen's going to help him. DeMonte Casey, that is our playmaker for that defense. In all honesty, people don't
Mhm.
know too much about DeMonte, but he led the league in interceptions 2 years ago. Last year he had interceptions, but the scheme also messed it up because they wanted to put him at slot corner to help and have Neal and Allen back there. But in naturality, put Neal in the box and have DeMonte and Allen back there. So that's why I think we're gonna do that big nickel scheme a lot more because we're gonna have three safeties on the field, and that's gonna show because all of our safeties love to hit.
Yes.
You don't have to question that. Ricardo's gonna come down and tackle. DeMonte Kay's gonna come down and try to knock your block off, and we know what Keanu Neal does to this defense. There will be no crossing routes on the field. I repeat, there will be no crossing routes on the field when Keanu Neal is in the play because they're scared of him. They don't like going across the middle when Keanu Neal's there.
Shit, I wouldn't either. I'd be scared. And those Neil, Allen, and Debo are the voices on the field. Um, they for sure are like they're about to do this play. Like, you know what I'm saying? Adjust yourself. And with them gone each year that unfortunately they left, it was apparent that nobody else could fill that role. So I am really, really hoping that we have other players like KZ or, they're training Terrell and them to be those players to step up and do that when necessary. Because
Hmm.
we can't have that again. You know what I'm saying? We can't have people who haven't been studying their film like they're supposed to, and then unfortunately one of them miss a game, and then everybody's lost. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying because Ricardo Allen was gone before, Keanu Neal was gone, Deion Jones has been gone, and it's been times where Ricardo will come 30 yards downfield to put a person in position and say, "Hey, it's coming right there."
Mm-hmm.
That's very pivotal when you're playing defense because if you don't watch film and if you don't know how they want to beat you or you don't know what's your weaknesses and strength on your defense, you're gonna get abused every game. Offensive players and offensive coordinators know who's your weakest link in on your defense. So we all know Oliver is probably our weakest link. In
Mm-hmm.
all honesty, they're gonna pick on Oliver and they're gonna try to pick on AJ Taylor in the beginning. But some people may not know. I look at AJ Taylor as a Fuller. You know the Fuller brothers. One plays for the Bears, one plays for the Chiefs.
Yes.
I look at AJ Terrell kind of like them. He has like the same body physique, the same height, and I can just see him making those plays just like that because the Bears have good safeties. The Chiefs have good safeties. What do the Falcons have? They have good safeties. So when you have good safeties, you can trust in what you do. As long as you put me in plays to where I'm good at, like so, if you know I'm good at man coverage and you keep putting me in man coverage and the rest is in zone, and I just got this one person, I know my scheme. I'm gonna be the best player I can be on the field, and they're gonna put AJ Terrell in those positions. They're gonna trust him. I know people are thinking like, oh, they're only showing the good plays of AJ Terrell in training camp because they want to make amends for the first round pick so people can know. Come on, man. Let's be realistic. The guy's played college. He played for a team that played in the championship. He knows how to make plays. He's gonna go out there and make plays. Then they didn't have mini camp, so that's all he's been doing is going over film. So if you go over film on a daily basis, you're gonna be able to see where you're gonna make those plays at.
I agree. And I'm hoping, everybody watches more film.
Mm-hmm.
As far as Allen and Casey goes, I need to get both of their jerseys because people are saying, like, I love Allen and I want his jersey in white, but unfortunately, with Rona going on, that's not an option right now, unfortunately. So I might have to just opt for black until
Mm-hmm.
the world somehow mostly goes back to normal. um,
Yeah.
so I need to get their jerseys because a lot of people are saying we're going to have to pay one or the other or both might not be here if we can't strike a deal with both.
For
So I'm going
who?
to ask you,
They talking about Neil and Casey? Because Allen still has 2 years left on his deal.
they've been saying Allen and Casey.
Nah, Casey's up for a contract, and then Neil's gonna be up for a contract this year.
See, I don't know why all these people are saying Allen and Casey because I don't pay attention to that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody been saying Allen and Casey. So let's say between Neil and Casey.
Mm-hmm. Because Neil's on his 5th-year option, and Casey's on his final year of his rookie year contract. So I look at it as I think Casey wants to be there. I know Neil wants to be there because they put their neck on the line to give him a 5th-year option. So I feel like they know what we bring. They know what the Atlanta Falcons organization brings, and who really wants to leave Atlanta, the city. Like that's the party city. COVID has kind of slowed it down, but everybody knows Atlanta is the party city. Most players aren't going to want to leave Atlanta.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I of course I hope everyone stays on the team that I like. But that's not reality. So
Nah, it's not. But let's hope for the best. I'm hoping for the best, and if we have a good year, I definitely think they're gonna plan to stay. I don't have any issues as far as um. I'm definitely not letting Casey go because he's younger. Allen, I mean, if anything, Allen's gonna be the first one to go because he's gonna be 30 after this year.
oh,
So they're not gonna let Casey go or um Neil. Neil's only like 23 years old. So why would they do that? Unless he gets injured again, that's the only way they'll let him go. They're not gonna let those two players go.
right. And of course, I think if you're new, I hate our medical staff for not seeing that in the first place. Like, if you're old, you should know this story. If you're new to this, when his ACL first happened, the first time.
They put him back on the field.
Yeah. So my group chat, one of the group chats I'm in with some friends, there's a ambulance, a medical EMT.
Mm-hmm.
There's EMT. And he literally, when Neil went down, he said his ACL, that's his ACL, he's done.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of us were like, fuck you. No, not true. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's not true, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm telling you, his ACL is down. We're like, how the fuck do you see that from TV? Like, seriously, you know what I'm saying? So we're going off. He goes back in. Of course, we know what happens. And it's his ACL. So I hate our medical staff because if my homeboy can see this from the television, that it was his ACL almost immediately.
Yeah, he was
Why
right too.
couldn't they?
He was right too.
Like, why couldn't they?
I think it also depends on Keanu too, though. Keanu probably told him that he was good to go. And when you have those little sprains and you're playing on grass, not turf, and it looks kind of, it was a foggy day in Philadelphia. Like, you're supposed to sit him out. Don't put him back out there. And he probably would have been out maybe 3 weeks instead of the whole year.
That's what I'm like.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when someone is injured, can we stop giving them bath salts or whatever the fuck we give them and just throw them out there?
Shots.
Yeah, like can we just do a real evaluation and then go from there? Like,
Yeah.
why do we have this culture in from Pee Wee to now? It's a NFL of when they're injured, just give them some salts or tell them whatever that shit is. What is that sniffy thing called that they give them?
No, you're right. That's what they call it.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
they call it.
that and like some fucking morphine and put them out there. Can we stop doing that? Because not only are we ruining the careers of NFL players, we are ruining children's careers, like Pee Wee football.
Hmm.
I think overall that really needs to stop. That tough it out mentality because you did, and when you were two, you know what I'm saying? And now you're this big old Pee Wee football coach. Like fuck you. These kids want to have a career in the NFL, and we need something needs to change. Because I like if I have a son in the future, he wants to play football, he's gonna be the fucking kicker. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't care because you know I don't want you getting these injuries, and you know what I'm saying. They just are like, here, take this and go, and your dream is to be in the NFL, and it gets cut short because they gave you bath salts or whatever, and was like, go out there, and now you're here miserable talking about what you could have
Could have
been.
been. Yeah, yeah.
you know.
Trust me, I know some players like that. And I think it's also based on the parents. The parents have to really go to practice and they have to go to games and see, what's going on with the coaches and their sons. Because when you have a parent that's more, adaptive to their sons playing football, which is happening more and more as the years have become. Because I know when I was in middle school and Pee Wee and stuff like that, my parents didn't go; they dropped me off, and then I was there, and I tell them what happened when they picked me up.
Mhm.
So, that's changed. You have to sit on the sideline. You have to be there. I know when I have kids and if my son wants to play football, I'm going to be out there. I'm going to make sure I might try to coach too, just to make sure that the players are safe as possible. Because, sometimes when coaches are amping to get the practices up and they're going to be like, you're good, get up, start over, play again. And they'll
Right.
they'll keep pushing them, and sometimes the kid will think like, oh well, it's okay to play through pain, but and it's not okay to play through pain. If you feel like you're getting hurt, sit out for a while until you feel better. And we need coaches to be able to put that into players' minds that you can tell me if you're not feeling well, if something's wrong, because in the NFL, people are worried about positions. They get paid. 9 times out of 10, if you get hurt and somebody comes in, you're gonna see an all-star. Demonte Casey, for example. Ricardo
Mhm.
Allen got hurt. That's how we saw more of him. I knew about Casey because he got a lot of interceptions in college, but they weren't playing him yet. So once that injury happened, we were able to get a gem from the bench and put him in the game. So we just have to do a better job of actually telling people what happens. And as you know, with Neil this year, he didn't second guess nothing this year. When he tore his Achilles, he knew right then and there. He said it out loud. If you may have heard him mic'd up, he said it like, "It's my Achilles. It's my Achilles."
I remember. I
You
felt
know,
so
yeah,
bad.
yeah. So if players are more honest, just like with Deion did the same thing that Keanu did that game with when he went back out there and he got the interception for the Eagles last year or 2 years ago. He
Mhm.
had a broken foot. He played on a broken foot.
I don't get it. I will never get. Well, since I've been watching that JUCO show on Netflix, this like it's that mentality just passed on and passed on and passed on that needs to be cut out.
Yeah.
It's gotta be because these kids.
You talking about
They
last
want
chance?
to get out.
Is it last chance you?
Yeah, last
Mm-hmm.
chance you. These
Mm-hmm.
kids trying to get out the hood, trying to help their mama, their parents, all that, but have all these injuries and won't say anything because if they don't have film, they won't make it to the next level. They don't go to the schools they want to get in and all that stuff. And it needs to change.
It definitely needs to change. Hey, question.
Mm-hmm.
I actually am supposed to be on another conference call from our job.
Oh,
Do you
yeah,
want?
we can end it.
Yeah. When can we come back to it though, or you guys gonna be doing something later, or how y'all want to do this? Because I'm really interested in you. I think you have a lot of key information for NFL. I mean, I'm honestly happy to be on the
Oh,
show with
look,
you. I think that you're an excellent host and you know a lot about football.
I know that little bit, little something, something. But for sure, so I'm gonna check the guys' schedule, and they can, since they're behind us, they usually can record at like 11 ish
Hmm.
at night. So
Hmm.
would that like 10, 11, would that work for you?
Yeah, without a question. I'm usually just either I'm watching TV or I'm playing Madden. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. Usually it's on like a Friday,
Hmm.
Saturday, usually. So I'm gonna check to see what's going out with them, so you can meet them and we do a whole full blown episode like we usually do.
That would be great. I really appreciate you having me on the show. Check out our content on Twisted Torch TV, and I would like to have y'all on my show as well. So I can
For
create some
sure.
questions for you guys, and we can just do a full dialogue, and we can get down to the nitty gritty.
For sure. We love it. And we this has been great. It's been great. The flow has been great. I'm excited for the future. So for sure, get to that call and I'm gonna check in with them and then hit you up, see what when they can do it. It's either gonna be this weekend or next weekend. I'm sure they can do this weekend.
Okay.
But you got everybody, some of them have kids, so
Hmm.
schedules
I
for
don't have any
sure.
kids. I don't have any kids, so I
I
don't
don't
know.
either.
I don't know about that. So yeah, but just let me
Thank you
know.
for coming on.
Appreciate you. How would I be able to? When will I be able to see this?
This will come out in a couple of weeks. I put out my one with my boy Trey this week. Next week is Jamel. I'll introduce you to him because he has a podcast called Flag on the Play. So y'all can
Mm,
definitely top it up on his podcast because he does want to do more interviews. So this will come out the week after. So 3 weeks.
got you. All right.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. I'll put all your stuff in the description box below.
All right.
All
Appreciate you
right.
guys. Thank you for having me.
No
Jumpman T,
problem.
Twisted Torch TV. Bye.